two resource persons from the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. I would welcome our first speaker, Mrs. Rosina Akrofi, and then Mr. Roland Adeku. A round of applause for them as they come.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor being here to this wonderful forum, and it's the best time and the best moment for us to have these discussions. It's very critical because it underpins the next stage, our last stage in life before death. So we all have to take crew in making sure that we take our retirement savings serious. To start with, I have three things that I want us all to take note of, and that is that pensions is linked to your salary. That's, if I should say, your benefits at the end of your working life is a component of your salary. So as you are, as young as you are, how much you receive and how much you expect to receive at the end of your retirement are linked together. The other thing is that pensions is a replacement income, if I should put it that way, in your final stage of working life. Pensions is to cushion you so that you will be able to live the life that you led in your working life as you grow old. As our fathers just explained to us, for you to have that successful life, you need to have good savings culture. So to start with, I would like to give a brief background in terms of the pensions industry. And as regulators, the topic is as good as and very significant for us all to have a look at. We have observed and have done some analysis in terms of how employees' attitude towards pensions contributions. But I'd like to tell you much about what the three-tier pension schemes is all about. The Pensions Act, as we have it now, establishes NPRA, for which I'm privileged to work with. Without that, I wouldn't have been here speaking to you. So the pensions, the National Pensions Regulatory Authority was established by Act 766, and then also established the three tier pension schemes, which is Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, which I will explain. The pensions regulator is to regulate and ensure compliance with the Act, and to ensure that, yes, people who contribute to pensions are actually paid their pensions, and also ensure security and trust within the markets. And that is the purpose of the NPRA. The Tier 1, as we heard before, was what we call the Social Security and Insurance Trust, which SNET was established for. During the review of the Act, then we have the Basic National Social Security Scheme. It's the basic because that should be a first point of your, what do you call it, your pensions contribution or monthly contribution receiving. So the state is to provide you with the monthly pensions. And as I said, you only receive what you have saved in terms of is a component or is a defined contribution, a defined benefit scheme, which is based on formula. Your 3 best years contribution is what out of it they will do some calculations, and then you are paid on a monthly basis. Just as our insurance colleague spoke about, pensions is an annuity. SNET is more like an annuity structure where you are paid till a certain age. So with the new Pensions Act, it brought some form of enhancement. It then reduced the qualifying condition from 20 years to now 15 years. Before, you have to do 20 years of contribution before you qualify to be on SNET monthly pensions. So what has happened is that the qualifying conditions now move from 20 to 15 years. Then also the survivor benefit computation, which our brother spoke about, that per the annuity, you make some payment, you are paid on a monthly until a certain age that they expect that you should die. In terms of the SNET computation, before it was 12 years. So from age 60 when you retire, you have 12 years. The expectation is that by 72, you should have gone. So with the new act, it then increased that period to 15 years. So now the expectation is that if you are 75, you should be qualified as someone who should have been gone already. And after that, if you are still surviving, they will give you a life form for you to sign to indicate that you are. Then the new act also made provision for hazardous employment benefits, which looked at age 55 as the qualifying age under the first year, which is the SNET one. Then other related benefits. Now SNET pay structure is no more paying lump sum. Before, under the old system, SNET pays lump sum and also the monthly payment. That lump sum has been ceded to private pension schemes, which is the corporate trustees, as we call them. So there are several corporate trustees, and they also have to undergo a certain rigorous registration process to be licensed by National Pensions Regulatory Authority. So they are now in charge of your lump sum payments, which we call the defined contribution scheme. So with that, the law also make provisions so for the funds, if you are an employee or a member of the scheme, if you move from one employer to the other, you have the opportunity to move your assets from that employer to your current employer, which we call porting in the pensions space. Then at age 50 for the Tier 2, which is the occupational pension scheme, and it's more to do with at age 50, if you are unemployed, the law allows you to access your Tier 2 contributions instead of your 60 years retirement stage. So that is also one good thing that the law brought to bear to us. The other is also that under the Tier 2, which is the occupational pension scheme, you are allowed to use your contribution as a collateral for primary residency, for you to acquire your primary residence, which we say your first home. So that is also one good thing. If you are an expat, it also allows that you can contribute and qualify to access pension. If it happens that you are an expat and you haven't achieved the qualifying condition, which is retirement, you also have the opportunity to be paid the entire accrued benefits to you as a lump sum. Then upon death, the normal process upon death, and if you've not, your beneficiaries are given your contribution. Then the interesting thing that the new act brought on board is the voluntary contributions, which we call the Tier 2 Tier 3, sorry. Under the Tier 3, there is a former one which we call the Provident Fund Scheme. The Provident Fund Scheme allows you a certain room of which I'll give the contributory rate, which is 16.5 of your salary maximum, to be put into a Provident Fund Scheme if you are a former sector worker. The age of entry per our Pensions Act allows you at age 15 to start contributing to the schemes. So that we should all, as youthful as we are, we are all looking, it's important that immediately you start doing some menial work, which even at age 12, sometimes our labor law says that you can do light work. But at age 15, if you help your dad in executing a business and he gives you some money and all that, you have opportunity to be able to place some of these funds into pensions. So you don't need to be fully or gainfully employed before you start planning towards your retirement. And that we need to. Then under the third tier, which we have the Provident Fund for the formal sector, the law again looked at the informal sector, that's self-employed people. And nowadays, self-employed is not only those who are in the market, because there's a gig economy. There is also freelance workers who walks around and do consultancies and all that. So there's a need for us all to be mindful, not to look at the personal pension only for the informal sector workers. And the law allows that those who are self-employed and have not contributed to the mandatory schemes, that's the Tier 1, which is the SNIT, and the Tier 2, which is the occupational pension scheme managed by the private sector, private corporate trustees, to contribute fully into the personal pension schemes. And my colleague from NIC made mention of annuity, and that is where the law makes prescription for an annuity, because the understanding of the framers was that since you are self-employed and has not contributed to the mandatories, which is the Tier 1, for you to receive a stream of monthly contributions or monthly benefits from the scheme, then when you are contributing into a personal pension scheme, there should be a split in terms of accounts. You should have a savings account and also a retirement account. And your savings account replicates the same character as the Provident Fund for the formal sector schemes, which has a period of access, which is, I've forgotten my terminology, but I'll get it back to you, which allows you, after 10 years under the formal sector, to have access to your contribution. But for the informal sector or self-employed people, it allows them to have access to that saving component under the personal pension scheme after 5 years. So this is how the pensions, industry or the current Pensions Act have developed or make certain provisions to help us to be able to enjoy it ourselves when we are when we get to our retirement stages. One critical thing that I also want us to be mindful as youthful and young as we are is that there is a saying in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which says that pay yourself first. If you want to make money, you have to pay yourself first. If you don't pay yourself first, government is always standing to take your money. And why am I saying this? Taxes are ways that governments collect and use for development. But one good thing which the pensions industry or the pensions contribution has is that it's tax exempted for as much as 35% of your salary. So if you want to pay yourself first, you make sure that when your salary, you push at least that 35% of your salary into that savings, which government does not, deduct any tax from. So if you have that mindset all the time, you tend to gain rather than lose. If you don't do the pensions, then government will charge you the full tax on your salary. So that is one thing that we should all bear in mind, that if you are not fully utilizing 35% of your contribution or salary, then government is taking that portion as tax. It's charging tax on that portion of your salary. So that we need to take note of. Audience, one thing that I'll say is that pensions play a vital role in providing financial security in our latter stage of life, as I said, allowing us to maintain a decent standard of living after retirement. There have been, notable shift in terms of employment, which I said. There is the case where the working environment, the dynamics has changed. You have the gig, economy, where individuals have become contractors instead of working full-time with organizations. So they tend to work project by project. After completing one project, they move to the other. They no more want to work with institutions because of the expertise that has come to bear. So in terms of that, it also turned the attitude of a lot of people to look more at immediate needs. If we all have options, even within the formal sector, many of us would have opted out not to make any contributions into our future because it's futuristic. So why would I say that I should be saving now when I can enjoy now? I'm healthy, I can go and cruise at the beach, spend some money, and I'm cool because I'm seeing the money and I'm spending it now. But that is one of the attitudes that has come. But we want to break this topic into two. In terms of the challenges, we can put it in the sense that the formal sector, per our laws and regulations, has already gabbed or nudged those people into compliance, if I should put it that way, because you have no option. If we say it's mandatory, it means wherever you work, where there is employer-employee relationship, the law requires that the deduction is made, the employer sets up a scheme, or you join a scheme, a deduction is made, SNATE automatically, make the deduction without even you seeing the money is deducted. So that attitude, I would say, per our laws and policies, has corrected that attitude within the formal sector structure. And again, the formal sector workers also have the opportunity to even contribute further, which is the Provident Fund schemes, which is 16.5% of their salary. In some cases, some have even extended their contributions into the personal pension schemes, which was purposely meant for the self-employed people. The law allows that if you're a formal sector worker and you still want to have additional contributions to do so. So in terms of the attitude, the formal sector employees has no option by virtue of the architecture of the law they cannot escape it. But if given the opportunity, they will all like to eat their cake as hot as they should. So again, these attitudes in the informal sector is different because there are certain factors that has led to this very attitude. Why should I say that? The economic situations, the immediate family needs, the conditions such as, they wanting to acquire or do other things or use the money for businesses immediately without thinking of the risks, which I believe the insurance people has made mention of in time. So those in the informal sector tend not to be too concerned in terms of joining a scheme. And the reasons are that financial literacy within that sector has not been that much. And I'm so grateful that this opportunity is created for us to, speak about financial security and financial literacy and all that. And I believe we should continue to trumpet this very activity to the other side of the market and not only look at the formal sector workers, because they also need that kind of education from that end. So for that reason, looking at all this, the regulator, as in NPRA, have also taken up the opportunity to structure how to engage or retune the minds of the market. And one of it is that the industry has been encouraged to be doing education and sensitization. And we've been doing this in collaboration with some employers in ensuring that the workers are well educated in terms of the pensions benefits that they should be expecting, and that pensions should be of concern because at the point of retirement and or in your pension, that is when you need certain care or certain financial support to hold on, because currently our traditional support, which is our external family structure, has all changed in the sense that you have your children thinking about building their family. You have your sisters or your aunties also thinking about how to structure it, unlike before, where our fathers would tell us the external family support was very much on point. But currently, it's not so. So it is very critical that as young as we are, we begin to rethink. Our moderator was giving us a position, enlightening our old our grandfathers, our grandmothers, that their time they did not have certain things. And similarly, it will get to a point where our children will also tell us that in your time, you did not have certain, conditions or certain things that will work for you. So it's important that we take, retirement savings very serious at a very early age. And one good thing that the law has provided also is that there is a mixture of investments that are secured, because pension funds are people's life. So per government decision, pension fund investments, you cannot tax it. The funds, in respect to the DDEP that happened even, there was a good opportunity for the pension funds they had a different, arrangement from all the other, funds or investments that were with the that invested in the government bonds. So it gives you some form of comfort as a young person, as an older person that you are working, to be able to contribute to pensions or to be able to save. So this attitude of pensions contribution by employees actually has improved per what we have observed in the market. There have been a lot of growth in the contributions. Currently, we have almost about 50 billion of only the tier 2 and about 15 billion for the tier 1. It means that and the funds has also grown astronomically in terms of doubling from the time that the inception of the act, which is in 2010, till now. So these are all encouragement tools that I will say that as young as we are, we should be putting our minds to and begin contributing to our pension schemes. So, and further, I believe there should be collaborations just as we have here between employers and employees to design and implement, more flexible pensions schemes. And there should be customization and also personalization in engaging employees and encouraging them into pension schemes that we have. Again, in the guidelines, in the pension guidelines, we've made provision for investments into ESG's investments, or green bonds, if I should put it that way, which in further we talk about is ethical investment instruments. And also, we have made certain attractive tools to the industry, which is encouraging them to use technology or leveraging on technology to be able to assess employees, so that a lot of self-employed people can also join the scheme. As we know, when you go to the market, our market women have no time to spend in discussing or enrolling with a long paper, spending about 15, 20 minutes for them to be filling all these forms. The NIA structure provides the opportunity for people to be enrolled within the shortest possible time. And those are some of the things that we are advancing to make sure that it makes enrollment seamlessly easy. And then contributions as well, we use the mobile money, platforms to make contributions also available to the corporate or to the schemes. So members can just set up their contribution terms in terms of the periods that they want to make contributions. So as soon as the time for contributions happens, the deductions are done without they, pushing it into the scheme. So these are all few things that as regulators we've encouraged in the market to make sure that people are able to make contributions on time, and also to be able to ensure that upon their retirement, they will be able to have what we call a good fund for their survival. And what we heard from our pensioners tells us that there is a need for us to plan and contribute continuously to this agenda. And in conclusion, I'll say that pensions contributions has improved, and there is a need, or especially from the employees level, for employees to be mindful or to be obligated to be checking their statements especially those who are making contributions, to always check whether the employer, upon the deductions, has actually made the contributions to their the schemes that they've joined. And then we also need to bring more innovation into the market as to be able to attract a lot of employees so that they will be able to contribute consistently. In all, I'll say that this has been a great opportunity to share some of the things and also to share the things that we've observed in terms of contributions by employees. Thank you very much for your attention.
So, just a little contribution. I'm Rosina Akrofi. Just add something small to it. There was a question about the fact that will SNAIT be enough for you to take care of you when you go on retirement or something? I think no. SNAIT alone, the pension that you take from SNAIT will just not be enough. I mean, just a little at the top edge, take something that is good enough to take them home. But majority of the pensioners don't take much. So you have to diversify, put your investment in various places. I mean, farming is one of them, a whole lot, everything. Wherever you think you can also put something to tomorrow to take care of yourself, but SNAIT alone, because generally our salaries are very, very low. And as we say, your pension is the function of your salary. Not even your salary, it's about your basic salary. So all the allowances that adds to it might give you a very good picture. But then it is only based, the 18.5% is based on your basic salary. So let me give an example. You are giving about 5,000. Maybe your basic salary is about 1,000. Your allowances, all together, your net becomes like 5,000. But your pension is based on the 1,000 cedis. So we have to actually invest into other things to make our pensions better. And Tier 3 is also one of the areas you can comfortably take advantage of. The Tier 3, that is the personal pension scheme. If you add that to it, you can invest into various, trustees under the Tier 3, and that will give you a better pension. When you take your SNAIT, you take your second tier, which is the occupational scheme, then you go to Tier 3 and take as many as you want. Of course, to invest into other areas. Thank you very much.